Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is Misty. She's actually a meditation coach, along with pretty much, I would say, a life coach, a spiritual coach. She was gracious enough to welcome me into her home and also her energy room. We have like sound baths here. We have a bunch of other cool stuff, but my main interest is meditation because I feel like that's very, very important for people to just balance themselves and just go within. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's awesome. Like you just welcomed me into your home, and now we're just we're just talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm learning. So tell me more about meditation, the benefits. I mean, I know a lot of benefits about it. There's a lot of science. 50 years ago, it was completely stigmatized. Like, nah, this is bullshit. Doesn't work. Now, with our friends, you could do neurofeedback and
Yes.
realize how calm the mind is. And apparently, we could get into this later, but there's also like spiritual things, aspects of it too. But as far as people just a regular average Joe, just wants to better themselves, what is it about meditation that helps?
So the clarity that it brings. The first thing I would uh, sit with somebody in meditation on is the allowance of all of the thoughts that they're having. I think it's a bit of a stigmatization with meditation that everyone's just able to sit down and start going. Thank you, very adjusting. Uh, they're going to sit down and just go right into a meditative state, and that's not how it works. We get to go through our thought processes or our patterns and start to identify what it is that and we get to release so that we can get into that clear state.
Okay, what is it though that um gets you into that clear state? Like, what is it like? You have to like tame the beast, which is the body. You have to calm your mind. Probably both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of know the answer. I'm just saying, you know.
I'll be honest, I don't think it is one thing for anybody. And that's why I think the meditation coach is awesome. Just bringing somebody in and asking directly, connecting with them, and seeing what it is on a personal level. Because the the answer, the vast answer that is the one size fits all, is there isn't one. It's a very individual process. That connection that we each have when we sit in meditation, what am I accomplishing? What am I looking to do in that meditation? For me personally, I love to get into a state of stillness where I can be aware of what's passing or just the life that's occurring around me and opening myself up to the possibility of a channel to come in, something that is outside of me to occur, a mystical experience.
So that's that's what you like.
That's what I like.
Um, what about for other people? So some people want just to calm their mind. Some people just want to learn to focus more. So what is it about meditation and just different meditations that help people? Some of them are for just like athletes. Some of them are for just like business people because I feel like athletes do it a lot because they want to visualize themselves winning. So when you put yourself there, you're kind of like pulling out and dragging the future into the present moment, or
Mm-hmm.
somehow you're bridging that gap between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So you
Yes.
can actually get what you want and make less mistakes, and unconsciously you're guided to your goal.
Yeah. Okay. So, in regards to that, I would say it's a pause to create from intention. And I just had you stop the interview for a moment so that I could do that. I could go inward for a moment and stop projecting from how I think this will be received and get into a calm state. Take the time. I'm really going to take the time to choose rather than respond or I get to choose my intentions. And I think that is one of the most amazing gifts of meditation is when I'm in a situation and there is a choice involved, and the choice has whatever consequences I put to it, or whatever projections forward I put to it, or whatever intentions I create with it. So to take that pause and sit and ask myself, what am I creating? What am I putting out there? What am I going forward with? What am I projecting? And is this in alignment with my highest good? Is this what my heart's desiring? Not what my brain is wanting, because that's a projection, that's a picture of something. But the actual desire coming from my heart, it's it's quiet. It's not going to be overpowering ego of the brain telling me it looks like this. So the stillness is the most valuable piece of the meditation that for me to take into my everyday life and my interactions with the people around me.
Okay, that's you. What about like newcomers that come? What have you noticed about them that you said they're like shaking at first, or their body's not used to being so calm, or maybe their mind's not being so calm? What is it about that? That's like it's a pattern that you've seen among people.
Yeah, I mean it is intimidating to go into a space where it is still and it's quiet, and there's an expectation in the programming that there's going to be an interaction that takes place, and we fill that space with kind of useless surface conversation. So getting somebody in that space, sitting with them, and asking them to be vulnerable and real. And I'm not going to ask the surface questions. I'm not going to ask them about their wife or their kids or their husband or any of that. It's information. Well, I want to know why they're here, why they're sitting in front of me, what it is that they're desiring to experience that they're not in their life.
Okay, got it. Um, what else can I ask you that's interesting to me?
I also coach a little bit on this, and you did bring it up, so I'm going to bring it forward. I speak from the I, and I coach on speaking from the I, because anytime I go into or it becomes possessive, as if I'm possessing life, and that's not what I'm doing. I'm experiencing life.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, we
creating.
talked about this off air because yeah, you want to experience life and you want to
Yes,
create your own desires and your
yes.
own future.
So I will often relate it back to I or myself or my own experience, because that's the only one I'm having.
Good, good, as you should. As far as newcomers that come, what advice would you give to someone that's just coming? They don't know anything about meditation. They're like, ah, this is woo, this is for hippies. Which actually was at one point vibrations and stuff. They were hugging trees in the 70s, but apparently it's true now, and there's science to back it up. So suck it. It's true. It's true. All
Yeah.
those people that are making fun of them, it's very true. Like
Yeah.
that stuff is actually real. Like, hey, you know what? There's actually vibrations,
Yeah, I think.
and vibrations are like sounds or energy, and we all have an aura, and all
Mhm.
that stuff is coming out. Like, oh, you know what? All that stuff that they were like smoking weed over in the 70s, and riding around in the with trees.
Mhm.
That's all true. And
Yeah.
like apparently hugging trees is actually a good thing because it releases more oxygen into the air.
Yeah. I absolutely love the trees.
Yeah, yeah. So when they're like a tree hugger, because my uncle says that he served in Vietnam, and now it's like no, I've learned like, hey, you know what? Like, if you hug a tree, you're actually loving it, and it releases more oxygen into the air. So that's actually a good thing because you're breathing it in, dude.
Yeah, there's something really cool about if I unlabel the tree and I look at it as sentient energy, and I'm sentient energy, and then I'm exchanging, and it goes past the barriers of the limitations, I'd say, the limitations of the words and the expression that comes through, the experience that's had. It's so pure, and it's in that moment, it's very presencing.
Okay. Do you have advice for going back to it, like new meditators?
Yeah.
Like what advice would you give them? Like someone that's just like afraid that wants to try, like whatever. Let's say they're having a hectic life, they're not happy, they're divorced. They're like, I just want to meditate like 10 minutes a day.
I would advise them to sit and watch their thoughts, but not attach to them. Allow the thoughts to come through, but not punish themselves when they realize I'm in thought. It doesn't need to be a punishment. Just the acknowledgement of I'm in thought is enough, and to let it go right there. Not to go into why am I in thought and why is this thought, because that's more thought.
Yeah. You can.
Yeah, just allow it. Allow it to be what it is. Let it go in that moment and continue on your task. And after doing this for however long it takes for that individual to gain any kind of ground, reward themselves in the sense that it's working. I'm creating a new neural pathway. I'm forging something forward that I didn't have before. Celebrate.
Yeah. For me, actually, I would stop and think of that thought. Be like, why am I having this thought? And I knew because I've taken classes on meditation. Apparently, like what happens is your body wants that adrenaline, the serotonin, especially when you're sitting down. So it will bring up some thoughts like ex girlfriend breaking up with me, making me upset or sad, so I can have some feeling.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, but when I realized I was having it, I was like, aha, nice try, and then
Hmm.
it would just go away.
See, I would love to talk even more about that. the feeling of the thought, because what I am experiencing at this phase is emotions that come to me. I don't necessarily attach an image to them. I don't take them to thought. So I believe that there's some data on it, that there's chemicals being released when a thought occurs that triggers an emotion, and that's kind of a belief that's out there. And what my personal experience is as an emotional field hits me, so it could be anger, it could be grief, it could be joy, whatever it is, um, I don't project a thought and create that way. I just enjoy the emotion passing through.
Yeah, you seem like a little more in tune than everyone else. Like, I noticed that I'm like a little more chill now because I was taking one of my coworkers that was here from out of town, and we went to see the Salt Flats, which is like a 2-hour drive. And what happened is some car cut us off while I was driving, and he got mad. He started yelling. He's like, "Oh, dude, you didn't get mad?" I was like, "No, bro, I don't care, whatever, you know." Like, he cut me off. He went. It's like, "Bro, it's like you've been meditating more, huh?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "It's not
Yes.
affecting me, you know."
Yes.
And those same thoughts where I was meditating and things would come up that would make me angry. Those things don't come up anymore either, because I knew what was happening. My brain is like, your brain is the most tactical, well-built thing that you have, and it will protect you, even if it has to like keep you lazy, keep you dumb, keep you snoozing in. It's gonna keep you protected, and doesn't want you to relax. It wants you that hunter-gatherer genes, you know, because that's what
Yes.
kept you alive for the past like I don't know 5,000 years.
Yeah, it just wants to be appreciated.
I mean, yeah, it also wants to be appreciated. And you can tell yourself, I mean, you just love yourself, you know, and every time you do something right and you're not slacking, like today, that's what I did. Like, I should have kind of finished work at 2:30. I was like, let me go the extra hour, you know, and I did. And I helped some guy that really needed it, like, really, really needed it. And I was like, and I made money off that too. So I was like, that's, you know, awesome. Thank you,
That's
brain.
beautiful.
Yeah, because I was like, it's okay. You know, it's the end of the month. I could, like, slack off. I'm off tomorrow. Let me just do it. And I was like, no, let me do one more, you know, just that little bit. I feel like that compound. But
Yeah.
that, like, I've been, and I thank myself for that.
Yeah, that feels like fulfillment to me.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah. So what happens when people come in? Oh, you know what's something that's been bothering me when I tell people I meditate? They tell me, oh, I can't meditate. I can't. I'm like, actually, you can. You really can.
Hmm.
You just don't want to. I'm like, there's a big difference between can't and won't. What do you say to them?
There's so many ways to meditate. There's not just the sitting in a still space and or a dark space, or there's so many ways to do this. It really comes down to, where can my mind be still? And for me, that comes to, where can I appreciate my mind and direct it into creation? I can do that anywhere. Um,
Now, now,
now,
but some people aren't on the same level as an avid meditator. Like even me, like I sometimes for some reason I just have a hard time like concentrating and just meditating. It happens rarely, but it does happen sometimes. Um, Sometimes like I like to listen to guided meditation.
hmm
Sometimes I don't. Like I noticed in the mornings, right when I wake up, I don't want any guided meditation. I don't want any music. I just sit there in silence for 45 minutes, 1 hour, and just meditate. But at nights, I guess when there's more chatter in my head, I like the music, the ocean waves, or the birds chirping. You know those type of meditations, and someone's kind of guiding you for an hour.
hmm There's and binaural beats. There's so many different
Yeah.
applications out there that are available for somebody that's new to this. But really, the advice is, find somewhere to have some peace, and take that, whatever it is. Is it music? Is it a
Hmm.
meditation? Is it guided? Is it some form of physical activity? Is it even woodworking or art is beautiful expression of meditation. It's an expression of life. And for me, that is what meditation leads to, is the direction and intention of my life, of how I get to create it.
And does it really matter how long you meditate per day?
No,
It doesn't.
no. I feel, for me personally, I don't even set a time. I just allow, every time it's here and I get to meditate, I get excited, like, okay.
And then you get up and leave when
I
you're done.
Yeah, I
And it
when I'm
doesn't matter,
complete, I'm
is it?
complete.
Really?
Hmm.
Like you're like I had enough.
Yeah, when I'm complete, I'm complete.
Yeah, that's not me. Especially when I told you I was in the dark room. And I was meditating. I was getting up. I was meditating. I was like, how long did I meditate for? What's going on? What day is it? What's like that's something that threw me off. So yeah.
But you did five, or you did
No, I
one
did
and a
like a
half
day.
days,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I did a little bit
And
over a day.
and
Yeah.
that's, I don't have that experience, and that's
I wanted to
sounds
experience
amazing.
it, and it was. but it was also very different. Like the point was, do I want to have a mystical experience? And the answer was no, I don't really need to, because it's not really gonna change my life. I mean, yeah, there's something else. I already know I believe these stuff happen, but and actually, yeah, and I was like, no, because I was like, if I'm in there for 5 days, my mind will start playing tricks on me. I'm gonna like release DMT and have a trip. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what is that gonna change though? My life is very happy.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's beautiful. I
yeah,
love that you were able to make that assessment for yourself.
yeah. It was. But the first night was crazy. My mind was playing tricks on me, like scary ghosts and all these scary movies and like clowns. And I was like, I know what you're doing. You're trying to get me out of here. Like, no, we're staying tonight. And I stayed.
I love that.
Yeah.
You looked the trickster in the eye and
Yeah,
said, "Nope,
well, but
here we are."
I am the trickster.
Yep,
Yeah, that's the sad part. I
absolutely.
am the trickster. I'm tricking myself. Um, but is there anything like interesting you've seen in people developing themselves while meditating?
Absolutely. I've watched people completely transform their being. So just and it really comes down to how they view themselves and how much self-love they have um, to share and to display. But I've seen that increase with just going into the stillness, and it's not just the meditation that we do. Um, it's really going through the emotional body too, and exposing all of the areas that are plaguing them. Like those are where the thoughts come from, is the shame and the guilt that of the past that maybe we couldn't process at the time that it happened. So we shove the emotion, and it will continue to have a pattern and show up in life as a projection. So I like to go into those when somebody has something like that they get to heal within them. Um, I think that makes meditation a lot more fun and a lot more easy when you're feeding your brain the intention of what you want to create. So you had mentioned that you had in meditation, you'd have thoughts of, you mentioned ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
So that's an emotional state that came through. And what were you, was it a lack? What was it when the
Um,
ex-girlfriend comes up? What?
it was just like anger, like she wronged me.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that just made me like betrayed and just upset. But my body was reacting to it. I was like adrenaline,
Perfect.
serotonin. But I was like, ah, I know what you're doing, trying
Uh-huh.
to get me out of this meditative state.
But what if it is guiding you deeper into the meditative state? What if it's asking you to heal any kind of the projection of shame or guilt or whatever it is, the anger or healing or love or forgiveness for the relationship?
I already forgave that person. So
Okay, so would this
yeah,
work?
maybe not on a subconscious level, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I really feel like that's what meditation is. It's going to bring up everything in the subconscious that we get to visit with.
right. But a lot of people aren't comfortable with that
No,
because they
it
have a.
isn't comfortable.
I mean, now I'm very comfortable with it. Like, I don't even have those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all gone. And now it's just like me trying to like just be still with myself.
Okay, but the newcomer has a lot of those
Yeah, that's
thoughts.
true.
A
They do.
newcomer is going to have story after story after story that we get to dispel. And I use those words with intention, dispel, because when we create these stories and we create ourselves as the victim in the story, we're spelling ourselves to behave that way and have that pattern. So when I get new people coming in to meditate, we do quite a bit of one-on-one before, or I do one-on-one with whomever I'm with, so that we can find out what it is that they're going to meditate about that day. What is the healing, the aspect of it that's coming up?
Okay. Okay.
How
Cool.
can we be in a still state if our body's just reactive?
Well, you really can't.
Right.
So you still your mind and you tell that beast to tame the beast, which is the body. Because it's your mind telling your body what to do, not your body telling your mind. Actually, your body can't tell your mind what to do. That's the problem. You got to check it, right?
Yeah, I dance with it.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it. I mean, yeah, just there's different ways. Some people aren't really maybe comfortable with certain things. Some people are very comfortable with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I just sit in silence for it's like 30 minutes, 1 hour, and then just check my mind. There's a different meditations though, like there's ones that put you in hypnagogic states. There's ones that help you focus. There's ones like that are with intention, and there's ones that are just to relax you, like mindfulness, just to be aware of your body. I like
Mm-hmm.
the mindfulness ones probably the most, because it's just there's really no spiritual aspect of it. It's just you and yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, the healed mind aspect. It's when the mind stops racing and starts being aligned with a unified vision of For me, it's love.
Have you heard of people just through meditation just healing their physical body?
Yes.
How so?
Well, I am an example of that myself.
Yeah,
But
yeah, you showed me a picture.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
but have you seen it like in your students, or I want to say like clients?
yeah, I have. I use other therapies as well. I use red light to.
With that flashing light?
No, it's a red wave. It's a photobiomodulation panel, and it treats up to 2.5 inches deep into the body, and it has circulatory benefits and some other things. And anybody that wanted to know about it could read about it.
Is it
Photobiomodulation
kind
light.
of like the Brownsville experiment?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's like an experiment where they do flashing red lights and they put people in a hypnotic state.
Oh wow, I
Yeah.
have not tried that, but I may have tried that at a mutual friend's office with the neural path.
Really? No,
Yeah.
this is a little different. Like
Is it
literally
different?
the red
Okay.
lights in your. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
That
put
kind of it
it
is the
was in
same.
my face, and it took me into a wonderful state of meditation.
This one's a little different. So they get a tennis ball, they split it in half. You put it on your eyeballs, and there's a red light just blasting on you.
Okay, no, I
And
haven't
it's
done
just
that.
like apparently that's how you brainwash people too. That's what the CIA would do. But like it also works the other way because like when you're in that state, you could put plant ideas in your mind, like positive ones too,
Okay.
like a mind movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you could tell yourself
Affirmations.
affirmations, but it's more than affirmations because it's yourself telling yourself what you're doing in the future.
Oh
So your
wow.
subconscious believes it, and guess what? You're already there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Subconscious
Yeah,
programming for
yeah.
sure.
It's called mind movies.
I am gonna look into that, and I'm
Yeah,
definitely gonna try it.
yeah. Try it. Have you ever tried messing with like walking meditations?
Yes,
What do you think of that?
I enjoy
Can you
them.
tell us what that is so people that don't know?
Yes, so I have an app actually that it's guided, and it was a walking meditation. And it's just promoting awareness of wherever I am in that moment and the state of the feeling state. So for me, it was joyful or peaceful or whatever it gets to be. And I believe the app I had paired it with some binaural beats and also meditation music, and it was really lovely.
So for people who don't know, walking meditations, you're actually meditating while you're standing up and walking. You could do this in the backyard, in in the house, the park. The whole point is you're walking into your future self, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Presencing my now self.
Right. Right. Because I mean, when you're sitting down and meditating, yeah, you're trying to shut out the world. But when you're out there walking, that meditation prepares you for that. You're walking into your future self, so technically you are in your future self.
Hmm.
Yeah. So there's something about the subconscious there. What have you?
I like it in motion. Subconscious movement is really really beneficial for me.
What does that mean?
Uh, as I get more in tune with my body, and I'm able to ask my body questions what it needs, or where I get to give extra attention or extra love or self care. Um, I find that I'm in a perpetual state of pain, but it's not the programmed pain where it's something I want to get rid of. It's like communication telling me where to chase the movement. So as I bend or I move my body or do poses into the pain and hold them and sustain them, it moves and it turns into pleasure. It's like a game my body plays with me.
Really?
Yeah, and that's really the only.
Is that in yoga you do mainly?
Yeah, and I don't do any. I don't practice yoga per se. I do intuitive movement, and it's really just chasing my own pain.
Cool. I do swimming, so I don't
Swimming's
know.
awesome.
Yeah, swimming is awesome, but it's not intuitive. I could do it on asleep, and I have done it. Where I don't remember swimming, but like when I was in swimming class, we would have to get up at 5:30 in the morning, be in the pool at 6. Sometimes we would have to get up at 4:30, be in the pool at 5 in the morning. And I would do like 2 hours of swimming and just not remember what I did. But I was like, did I really just do this? Like half asleep. So
Wow.
so it's not programming though.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good programming. Yeah. So if you throw me in the pool, I'm gonna swim. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's also negative programming where you tell yourself negative things. Like I'm too lazy to do this. I'm too fat. I'll do it tomorrow. Like today, I could have, that extra mile I went today.
Mm-hmm.
It was rewarding because I helped the person. It was pretty irritating though at the same time, and challenging. But I still did it, and I think in my mind like, hey, you should do this more often. Just go the extra mile. So that's a certain program that I'm working on putting in. But how would someone get rid of a program that's negative?
Well, I would start with identifying it differently. as awareness rather than a negative program. Awareness of what I've experienced in my past and bringing it into this moment and forgiving myself for judging me or not taking care of me or loving me. And then I'll ask myself the question, I could do this in this moment. Is it for me? And if the answer is no, then I honor that. I honor myself. And if the answer is yes, I do it.
I mean, what if you're like a more persistent person? Like, "Oh, I'm still gonna push it. I'm gonna push past my own limit." And I mean, that's also a good thing too, because you don't want to get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You always want to be uncomfortable and go into the unknown, like we talked about. But like, you want to go to the next level, you know? Like, you always want to be your best self. My best self doesn't get lazy or get uncomfortable and listen to my body. It's like it pushes past. That's just me.
Yeah, my best self is guided by love. So
That's cool.
where I can extend love, where I can be love, where I can be loved is my next choice.
Okay, cool. Anything else that you want to add to meditation that people think that don't even ponder or think about? Like maybe when you're in the meditative state, or maybe people that just don't meditate. I mean, like, what's something that most people don't overlook as
I
far as meditation goes?
I feel like people are coming into the awareness that they want they want that moment. They want that moment of stillness, and if they don't, if that's not, then that's not, and that's fine too. Um,
Why
how
would you not want
Well,
it?
because they want to watch TV,
Or
or
maybe
I
they
want to
live
go
in
to
New
a
York and they're
club,
always
or
like moving, moving,
yes,
moving, you
yes,
know,
it's a
and they
very
don't know what's,
fast paced,
yeah.
high frequency,
Hi.
high frequency people. And I know I'm using that word a little bit contradictory because it's mindless, right? When we're in that flow, but it's very, very fast paced. So the frequency it's moving all around me.
Yeah.
Um, some people thrive there, and I honor them for that.
Mm.
It's not for me.
Temporarily they get old with, they do. I'm watching it with my own eyes.
Okay.
Like, I have family members that live in New York. So yeah, that stuff gets old quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it does get old for them and they get that internal spark to shift something in their
Mhm.
being, I would recommend meditation, and it's widely available. There's so many places that teach meditation. Yoga is a form of meditation. I mean, Bhakti yoga, it separates them out, but it's all there. It's all a state of being.
I recommend for them to get the hell out of New York City and then they meditate. Whereas you're meditating, get out, just do it on the train.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because think about it, like you're also, like, yeah, you want to get out of the environment, but you're also a product of your environment, around your surroundings,
I agree.
around the people you're around. They're you could call it electromagnetic field, or you could just call it their influence. We'll just call it their influence. They have a certain influence on you. If you're around like drug dealers or drug addicts, you're probably a drug dealer or drug addict, or you're gonna start doing it sooner or later, you know. But if you're around like loving people, and that more of you is gonna come out. Yeah, you can meditate for hours and hours and try to blot that out. Wouldn't it be easier just to get out of that situation?
I can be around drug dealers and drug addicts and still be me.
Right.
I can
But
still be loved.
yeah, but would you?
Yes.
You
And I do.
you're around drug dealers?
Certainly.
No, but I'm not talking about people that do plant medicine and has what they classify as drugs. I'm talking about like bad people that still rob this, that.
Tell me more about bad people.
Bad people are people that don't bring value to society.
Okay. Can you imagine what they're feeling in themselves?
I don't want to.
That's the problem right there.
I don't
That's the
want.
compassion
I,
piece that we can go into and find that love.
but yeah, I mean, maybe why don't they find the love? Maybe if they ask for help, I would be able to help them.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah,
And
but I don't
that
want
shows
to.
a willingness and a
Yeah, yeah,
willingness.
of course.
So that's where I'm at. If somebody comes to me and they've had a stint where they've been an addict or they've used obsessively or whatever it is, I don't. I see them.
Right. No, I'm not saying people that come to you with open arms for help.
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about you're hanging out in, I don't know, downtown LA with drug dealers.
Okay, so I live in the mountains in Utah.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but
So I have to.
we're having two
yeah,
conversations.
yeah, and it's beautiful because you have a different experience than I have. So I haven't had that experience, so I can't speak
Well,
to it.
I've cruised through those people. I haven't been around them, but like I don't want to.
Okay.
Like I don't want to go around like trying to hold their hand. But that's what I mean. My point is, forget the drug dealers. Just you're kind of a product of your own environment. Like I'm not talking about someone that comes into your field for like an hour or two. Like you're constantly with these people. Like people in New York, they're amped up.
Hmm.
They're in a rush. The New York minute, like they speed fast, and they don't really have time. They have 2, 3 jobs. They're eating lunch on the way to their second job. Like that's does something to your body, the cortisol level.
Hmm.
Like you want to get out of that environment.
I agree. Um, and again, I don't have very much experience in that, but I do want to honor what you said. You walked into it and you felt this isn't for me, and you honored yourself, and that's primarily what I would advise anybody, or even
Yeah.
in myself. Absolutely, if I walk into a situation and I can vibrationally feel this isn't for me, I'm not going to stay. I'm going to turn and find what is for me.
Do you think people have an internal guiding system?
Yes.
How do you think that works?
I think it takes healing. It takes going through all of those past traumatic experiences. And it doesn't necessarily mean reviewing them. It just means when the emotion comes up, instead of shoving it back down, express it through the body. So I frequently cry.
No, no, no. That's not what I meant. Like an internal guiding system is like something that tells you something is bad or good that guides you to somewhere safe.
Yep. I think it's hidden under all of these suppressed emotions and programming and belief but we all have it. So to get to it, I got to go through my own healing of whatever it was that was blocking it,
Okay.
so
And
that I can feel vibrationally.
do you think kids are better at it than adults because they have less baggage?
I think that can be, but I think that the programming starts really young. So
Right.
by the age of 7, I'm going to misquote this, but I'm going to paraphrase it a bit. Give me a child to the age of 7, and I'll show you the man.
Yeah, what they call it. Those were the Crusaders. It was a certain
The
type of
Sufi mystics,
Christianity.
I believe, isn't it?
There was a certain type of Christianity that did it. Yeah.
Okay.
So they would get them very young and train them, just like a Jedi kid. What they call them? Padawan.
Yeah, Padawan. Okay.
Padawan. You get them very young, and you tell them like, "Hey, there's nothing separating me from you, or you to, I don't know that the Jedi sword, a lightsaber, so you can actually grab it. So you have that internal connection. Like you had a child very early on, and you get them to believe these things. Guess what? It's in their program. They're already connected to source. They're already connected to the force.
Uh-huh. And it works the address, right? Where
I
we,
mean,
we
well,
get them into
well,
a
look at us. I
system.
mean, can you move something with your mind?
Not yet, but I'm
But
going to
it's
try.
well, technically it's possible. Just look at the double slit experiment with quantum mechanics. Technically, you can't. You observe it and it goes a different way.
Absolutely.
So you are moving it, but it's on a subatomic level. I mean, I want to see you move a car. And be like, then I'd be shocked.
Okay.
I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be like, cool, teach me how to do it.
See, now I have a focus for my intention.
To move a car
I'm
with your mind?
Just to impress you. Yes,
No,
I'm gonna do this.
that's you don't need to do that. but you know what I mean? Like, I've seen videos. I have never seen anyone personally do it, but like they can move like paper,
Yeah,
decks,
tinfoil.
tin foils and
Yes.
things like that. Like very very rudimentary, and they're concentrating very very hard. But imagine you just teach a kid from like I don't know the age of 1 that they could do it.
Uh-huh.
By the time they're 20, like yeah, watch me do this, all this stuff, and then what is separating you from that object? Nothing, because you're both consciousness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love this topic because I took my kids out of a traditional system for education, and I went into what is your passion? I wanted to see who they really were. What did they bring to this experience to share with the world? And they have blown me away. We don't follow a curriculum that's traditional at all. But it's the same thing. I'm just not programming them to what the tune that I was programmed to. And I was in the system, the traditional system, the public education system, etc. And so I have my programming. And by doing it this way, I also get to dispel what I was taking on for granted. Like this is because I was taught this. So same thing, full allowance for everybody to be the full contribution that they are as they come into this experience of life.
Okay. Full contribution. Yeah. Everyone can contribute, but I mean, if you get them at an earlier age,
Yeah,
you can get them to do things.
I
Like your
believe
kids,
the 1
like
to
you got
7.
them. You're programming positive things in life. Probably love, compassion, You said give them a purpose. Like, how did you contribute to the house or to the plants? That's like
Mhm.
a daily thing that they have to think about. Like, if they have to think about that every day now, in 20 years, they didn't think about that too.
So this is really cool because they only thought about it for a few days and then it became um, part of the. It just was. We didn't have to discuss it anymore. This was just a pattern now, and it was a pattern they enjoyed expressing, so it stuck.
So Misty had her kids ask themselves the question, how did I contribute to our home and to Mother Earth, Pachamama,
Hmm.
every day? And then apparently after a few days,
Hmm.
it just became like like a just like a routine.
Yes, we did four questions, and that was one of them. And the other is how did they display or express compassion and love? And it could be as simple as writing a note to somebody, or my daughter made me a joy box when she thought I was sad one day, or she felt I was sad. She put all these things that she knew were my favorites in there, like kombucha and
Nice.
pictures of me smiling. So big gestures, small gestures, it doesn't matter. They're constantly in contribution.
Okay. Good. Do you think change is a constant of life? Like everything changes?
Yes.
What about people that are like just stuck in the ruts? They're like, nah, like everything the way it is, just leave it this way. Do you think that's a bad thing?
I think that that's a stagnant thing.
What do you mean?
Not a lot of movement. If there's a desire to change it, then it just takes a choice. But if there's a desire to stay stagnant, then it's stay stagnant.
Yeah, but those people usually have the carpet pulled right under them, you know? So, yeah, that's what I've been constantly thinking. But that also ties into attachment to materialistic objects. Like, don't really get attached to things because everything's, changing,
Yeah, constantly in
constantly
flux.
changing. How
Hmm.
do you not become so attached to objects and just like certain things? Because I mean, I come from LA and there's a lot of people that love cars, flashy things. And I don't even think they love it; they just love it to throw it in your face,
Yeah.
which is probably worse than like if you really appreciate watches, you have it for yourself. That's cool. But when you have to work your ass off and then like you buy that thing or you do like fraud to buy that thing, and in order to show off that you could have it, like and to throw it off, to throw it in other people's faces is, I don't know, something else.
I learned this lesson for myself in a very specific and unique way, but I did the Camino de Santiago, which I told you earlier, and that's the 500-mile trek through northern Spain, with everything that I'm carrying on my back. So when we were prepping to go on this trip, we bought expensive things like camp stoves and sleeping bags,
Mm-hmm.
but our packs were like 35 pounds. So the first day was the hardest day on the trail. I hiked 14 miles, got to, with no sleep, got to the first hostel and poured my bag out on the bed. And I was like, I do not need any of this.
Yeah.
So I carry what is important can be carried on my body, and what is not important cannot. That's it.
Oh, you carried a stove for 14 hours going to the hostel that had a stove?
No, well, I didn't know what it was going to be like, but yes, I mean,
You
yeah,
never been in a
essentially.
hostel, huh?
I'd been in a hostel. This was the albergues, and they don't have a stove. Like you can't go and cook there, but it's $10 a night. They give you a bed. It's really just a bed to
That's the
sleep in.
expensive hostel. Dude, I've
Yeah.
been to $5 hostels on the beach, free breakfast, 1 hour free beer
I'm gonna travel
in
with you next
Vietnam.
time.
Yeah, I'm serious. In Vietnam, on the beach.
Okay,
Like
well,
you,
Vietnam, yeah,
yeah.
I would imagine. I've stayed in some nicer places in Asia, and then
Hmm.
some places that, yeah, $5 a night sounds right.
But it was pretty nice for $5, honestly. Like
Yeah.
that pool table, pool in the back. I was like, dude, this place is awesome.
Okay.
People would just literally stay there. They're like, I have found peace here. But they're like college students that have like a savings. They're like, I'm just gonna burn through this until they kick me out.
Oh
So
wow.
and then they
Okay.
start working there.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Find a
they were
way.
just happy. Yeah, they found a way. They definitely did. They definitely did. So with meditation, it literally means quieting the mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it about these like meditation retreats that are like popping up and becoming more popular now? Like I feel like a lot of people could benefit from them, but sometimes it's like a pack thing now. It's like
Yeah.
a Coachella. I want to go. It's
Oh,
fun.
okay.
You know,
I haven't experienced
I'm starting to see that.
the buzz of that. I just offered one in Mexico, and we took 12 people down, and but it was bhakti yoga, so it was the different arms of yoga. So we did meditation,
Hmm.
and we did yoga and we did kirtan and breath work and pranayama. But the meditation part, the facilitator that I had, because I don't facilitate my retreats. I go and find the facilitators that have been doing it for X amount of years, and then I bring them in and bring the people to them.
So you're like the networker.
I'm the networker or the connector, or
Yeah.
I get the buzz going, and then we all choose in and go into it. So we get down there, and she had it set up with 3 hours of yoga and 3 hours of meditation, and then noble silence. And after day one, everyone chose out. No, they're like, my body doesn't do this. None of them were ready for that kind of devotion and dedication.
Yeah.
And myself included, I was like, this isn't enjoyable anymore. And then going into noble silence, where we didn't get to communicate with each other, and we're in Mexico on a beautiful beach, and I think it's really important to know what you're getting into. If I were to offer that retreat again, I'd only offer it to yoga teachers and people that around here that know what they're getting into. But as far as groups going and doing meditation retreats, I've heard of Vipassana, which is
like 10-day silent retreat.
See, they do 3 days.
See, I jumped into the dark room, thinking like I can do this just 5 days, and like, whoa, you're literally in the dark. Like there's no one around you. The isolation got to me, honestly. It wasn't the dark. I'm not scared of the dark. Just the isolation. There's no one. I don't know what time it is. I took a nap. I woke up. I didn't know how long I slept, if it was a nap or I slept for 14 hours. And I took another one, and boom, that's it. Time and space cease to exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would love to experience that.
Well, you sure?
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
until I do it, I won't know.
Well, that's how I am. Like, hey, let me try it out. Like, I'm not going to psych myself out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just went in there, and it was cool. But, yeah, I mean, it was cool. Like, honestly, for a day.
Yeah.
But my sense of smell became very stronger after I left. That was kind of strange because I relied on my sense of smell. I don't really rely on my sense of smell. Like, it's pretty weak compared to my other senses. But my sense of smell became very strong.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, I was like able to smell everything for weeks. Like something far away. It was kind of like, huh? So it's like something, tweaked something in my brain. So.
Wow. Okay. I'm super interested in that.
Me too. But where's Jimmy when we need him? And these little toys. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
What advice do you have for people? I asked this question on the last note. What advice do you have for people that are like just in suffering or pain or they're depressed or sad? What would be like one piece of advice you would be able to give them?
Oh, wow. This is such an individual question for an individual person.
It is.
So, yeah.
But like someone that's listening to this podcast that's like, I don't know, man, maybe I should try it. My life isn't going good. I'm making like 40 grand a year, working 60 hours a week. What can I do?
Oh, that question right there, what can I do? Start exploring the possibilities. If there's something in my life that is not working for me, there's something else that is trying to reach me.
Wow. And to add to that, explore my possibilities, infinite possibilities.
Infinite possibilities.
Anything, everything to happen. And the closer you are to this present moment, yes, the possibilities are less and less. But the second you go into the future more and more, the possibilities expand more and more. Because anything can happen at any moment. You could literally find $1 million. I mean, the possibility of that is very, very, very little, but it is possible. Or maybe you could go have a conversation at Starbucks. Someone's like, hey, I like you, man. Maybe let me hire you for 60 grand.
Yeah.
That's 50% more money you're going to make.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you could figure, this system doesn't work for me, and I'm going to go build a tiny home on a hill somewhere and live outside of society, and that's
you might
okay
want to
too.
gradually do that.
Yeah.
You might gradually want to do that. Yeah, but that's like that's the extreme. I'm thinking like more practical things that people could do. It's a possibility though.
More practical. If someone comes to me and I can tell when they're in that vibration where it's like, this isn't worth doing anymore. Mm-hmm. Life isn't worth lifing anymore. It's such a beautiful state to hold compassion and love for somebody there.
How do those people get out of bed? Like, I jump out of bed. Like, yeah, it's 5 a.m. Let's do this. 5:15, whatever.
I have days where I don't want to get out of bed.
I mean, I have that too. That's a lot of days. Mm-hmm. But then I tell myself, are you a little bitch? Get up. And I get up, psych myself out to getting up. And I do. But then when I get up, I just sit down and meditate. So I'm back in there.
Yeah.
But now I'm just in the operating room. But a lot of times, I skip workouts. or I don't skip workouts where like my mind's like, I just take the day off, but then I go anyways,
Yeah.
or just going. I'm telling you, just going that extra mile. Just compound those little things that you do.
So I love that you have this. This is incredible, that drive. And I also know that there are people, and myself included, that I don't have that. So there are days where I don't want to get out of bed, and it will hit me. And the best advice I can give somebody from there is forgive yourself, allow it. If you don't want to get out of bed, don't punish yourself further. If it's due to depression, if emotions are getting you down, if the world seems on you, be the one to give yourself the love. Be yourself the one to give yourself a break. Do something in self care that day instead. Choose you.
You should always choose you,
Absolutely.
but I think you should also hold yourself accountable. Like, why did I snooze? Why did I sleep in? I mean, that's how I think. You should always take care of yourself. Like we were talking about this off air. There's a lot of people that run around help others, and at the end they get sick or something, and they forgot to take care of themselves. They're stressed out, different things going on. Always put yourself first. But
Absolutely.
but I think you should always hold yourself accountable. Like, why did I sleep in? To drying up. Like, you have one more. This could be the last day of your life. Why would you snooze through it?
Yeah.
Get up.
I love that. I honor
Yeah,
that
but that's
so
how I am.
much.
Like,
Yeah,
that's how I
and
am.
that's beautiful. You're
But there's
incredible.
some days are like hard, like after you literally roll out of bed.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing? But those are the days that build my character. Really.
Yeah.
Because it's the hardest. Because if it was easy, just like I just skate through life. Like if my parents had left me like $20 million, and I had a hot girlfriend, and like everything was cool, and I get to travel the world my whole life, just skating through life. But it's like when you have to earn it, that's how you build character.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
Well, you've done
my
a great
advice.
job.
Well, I mean, I'm still doing it, So like I haven't, it's never ending, right?
Yeah, you're
Always trying
doing
to
a
better
great job.
yourself. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
absolutely. And I have that same advice for anybody in any state of emotional well-being that you're at. Receive yourself where you're at and start from there.
good, good, right on. Thank you, Misty, for jumping on. What's the name of your meditation? Like, do you have a company or
We're calling it Joyful Crossings at the moment.
Joyful Crossings?
Joyful Crossings, yes.
Nice, because it's different paths crossing, or
Yeah, it's absolutely a walk of all different lives that come through here.
no judgment.
No judgment. We have so much fun in community.
Good, good. So it's a community.
Yeah,
I like it.
absolutely.
I'll post your info, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Go ahead and subscribe, and we will catch you next time. And Misty, thank you very much.